outside of the day that you follow Jesus and decide to get baptized, that is an atomic bomb that goes off. That's the most radical transformation you'll ever see in your life. Outside of that event, how does almost every single other process of transformation happen in your life? It happens one little step at a time. And yet, here's what we do. Listen to this. We have a tendency to overestimate big moments and underestimate small daily improvements. We want big right now, and we underestimate the power of small improvements. So let's just get personal for a second. You want your marriage to change, and you know what you want? You want one counseling appointment, one conversation, one trip and vacation to radically change your marriage. And yet what we don't see is we don't want to put in the work of every single day, little small changes that are going to transform our marriage over time. Your finances, what do we want? We want to win the lottery. That's why people play the lottery. We want a get rich quick scheme. This is why people fall for this all the time. We want it, bam, just one event. We don't want to put in the daily discipline to climb ourselves out of debt, to save what we need to save. I mean, you look at your career. If your career's not going well or your business isn't going the way you want it to, what do we want? One big promo, one quarter that changes everything versus the daily little incremental changes that'll lead to transformation. Here's how the math works. 1% change. That sounds like nothing. 1%? Let me show you the math. Some of you can go fact check me if you want to. If you get 1% better every day, you'll end up 37 times better by the end of the year. You'll see a 37 times transformation. That's transformation, but it's 1% at a time. And we just don't like change like that way. We think we need something massive. It's small changes that make the big difference. I love this verse in Zechariah chapter 4. Listen to this. God says this, do not despise these what? Small beginnings. Don't despise small beginnings because God can use small things for radical transformation. That's one reason we don't see changes because we forget there's power in small little changes. But that leads to the second reason that we so oftentimes don't see the change we want. Here it is. We give up too quickly because we don't see change fast enough. We can just give up when we don't see change. We have to realize this. We have to realize that true change starts with who over do. I want to show you one verse in scripture where God makes this crystal clear if you're still not bought in. You ready? Romans 12:2. Watch this. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. This actual Greek word to conform to a pattern, you know what the Greek word is? Listen, it's actually pronounced this way, systematizo. It actually means to shape one's behavior by a pattern. This is a system. These are the habits we get into. And all of us know, hey, we can get into some habits that we should not be into. We know that, right? But what's this word sound like? Systematizo. What English word does it sound like? A system. It's the habits we fall into. And we're like, I know, I've got some habits I want to break. I want to be better. I want to change. How do I do that? The verse goes on to tell us, right? Don't conform to the pattern of this world, but set some New Year's goals to change your life. By the way, I just made that up. The verse doesn't say that at all. But that's what we jump to. I'm going to go do something. Listen to what this verse says. Don't conform to the pattern of this world. This is what it actually says. But be transformed by the renewing of what? Your mind. You know what this word mind literally means? Watch this. Mind means beliefs and values that leads you to act in a certain way. What does God make crystal clear? Watch this, watch this. God says, you start here and it will lead you here. You don't want to conform any longer. You have to start with who? So here's what we're gonna do. What are we gonna do? Here's where we're gonna start. Your first step in 2020 for meaningful change is writing who goals before you ever write do goals. You might say, well, how would I even write down who I want to be? Like, how would I even do that? Here's what I did. I literally pictured myself and imagined myself at the end of my life attending my own funeral. I mean, think about this. I attended my own funeral. I got to sit a front row seat of my funeral. And what I wanted to do is I just wanted to listen to what I wanted people to say about me. Now, as I was picturing my funeral, I was thinking, okay, I'm on the front row. There's Jamie with all my kids and grandkids. Jamie's crying profusely. She's just saying, oh, I'll never marry again. I'll never find someone as good looking as him. I'll never do it again. I was like, I'm kidding, I'm joking. But I just wanted to know, what do I want people to say about me at my funeral? And I just began to write that down. Now, if that's too morbid for you, here's an easier thing. This is what I did with my kids when I walked my kids through this. I said, just imagine that you got to eavesdrop on your friends and family talking about you, but they didn't know you were there. How would you want them to describe you? And you just begin writing down, okay, this is who I want to be. It's almost like your personal core values. At the end of my life, who do I want to be? And I just began writing those down. I wrote about a dozen of them. Now, I'll just share some of them with you, okay? Here's just what I wrote down. I wrote down, I want to be a man of character. I will do what's right as defined by God regardless of the cost, because at the end of the day, I want to be a man of integrity. That's what I want. I also wrote this down. God will be first in my life. I mean, at the end of the day, I want people to say, you know what, at the end of the day, he was a man that put God first. He lived out his faith. I wrote this down. My marriage will honor God. I will be a one-woman man. I will love and encourage my wife, assist her in the duties of our household, date her regularly, and be a spiritual leader. And when my kids stand up at my funeral, I want them to say this. This is the greatest gift I can give my kids. He loved mom with everything inside of him. Now, am I perfect in that? No, but it's who I want to be. It's what I want to be known for. I also wrote this down. I will share my faith and invite people to church. Here's what I know. At the end of my life, the only thing I will have invested in that I will get to see or take with me to heaven is other people who know Jesus. So I'm gonna live out my life and live out my faith and invite people to church. I mean, I wrote down several others about the kind of dad I wanted to be, the kind of employee I wanted to be, who I wanna be. And then at the top of this paper, I actually tried to summarize it all with one sentence. I'm not saying you have to do this, but I think it's powerful if you do. I tried to summarize my whole life in one mission statement, the point of the Spirit. And here's what I wrote down. I exist to worship God, love my wife and kids, and tell everyone I can of Jesus' saving grace. CCV, that's who I want to be. At the end of my life, I hope that's who I am. What am I doing? I'm deciding to start with who and define that before I ever start with do. And do you understand how powerful this can be? If you don't know who you are, what if what you're doing doesn't even lead you to who you want to be?